So, for the first episode of the second season, we decided to delve into the history of Georgetown, South Carolina, one of the oldest towns in South Carolina. It was actually reportedly one of the first European settlements in the United States. It was founded in 1729, and it's the third oldest city in South Carolina. It was occupied by the British Army during the Revolutionary War and was the site of many skirmishes between Francis Marion, called the Swamp Fox, and British soldiers. It became a major rice producer and by 1840 produced almost half the rice crop of the entire U.S. Rice trade abruptly ended due to the Civil War, competition, and several devastating hurricanes. The lumber trade took off in the early 1900s, and in 1936, the first paper mill opened, which is still a major industry for Georgetown. Given its rich history, it's no wonder it's become a hub of haunted activity.
Prince Frederick Parish Church, also known as Old Gunn Church, was organized in 1734 and was attended mostly by wealthy rice barons. In 1859, a large Gothic structure began being built to display the wealth of the parishioners until architect Mr. Gunn fell to his death from the roof of the bell tower. Soon thereafter, locals considered the location haunted. During reconstruction following the Civil War, the church was abandoned again and later burned, leaving only the bell tower standing. Visitors to the church claim to hear screams and see strange lights coming from the bell tower.
What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the official first episode of the second season of Para or Normal. So tonight, what we decided to do for you guys is kind of take you on a small tour of Georgetown and some of the more, what we feel to be some of the more haunted places that exist, not just from word of mouth, but places we've experienced ourselves. So for the first stop, you've got behind me Old Gunn Church. Now, Old Gunn Church has a kind of a murky history, like a lot of things do around here. We do know that this is one of the original churches, one of the original parishes here in Georgetown. This one, reportedly, the person that created, the architect of the church, fell off the very top of that bell tower after it was finished to his death. And it's said that his ghost still lurks around here. Interestingly enough, there's another church that's kind of like the twin to this church in Georgetown, which we'll go check out later. But as you can see, not too long after the church was established, it caught fire, and the only thing left standing is the bell tower that you see before you. So for any of you that have been with us since the very start when we were just a podcast, we actually did the very first podcast episode right here from Old Gunn. As you can see, unfortunately, access is limited due to people coming in and vandalizing the joint, but that's still not going to stop us from doing what we can from outside and getting a good investigation. So without further ado, let's get this going. All right, so we're going to do our first spirit box session out here in front of Old Gunn. The first time we were out here, we actually had the spirit box as well, but truth be told, we had no idea what we were doing. That being said, we still got some pretty interesting stuff that night on the spirit box. So we're going to try this again, see if we can get anything else, maybe some communication with the late Mr. Gunn. So let's get into it. All right, Mr. Gunn, if you're out here with us and you want to communicate, we think that we had maybe made some communication with you, if not maybe one of the old parishioners the last time we were here. Can you speak into this box and let us know you're here with us? Is there somebody else out here that used to attend this parish that's maybe buried in the cemetery on the grounds over here that wants to say anything? Again, speaking to this box. These bugs tonight, man.
Oh man.
This is not the ideal time to come
Like
out
if
here.
anybody wants any idea of it, just look up there. You'll see them all flying around. It's just
The things we do for
yeah.
ghosts.
That's all I could think about. I'm like, we're dedicated, that's for sure. I mean, they're all in my hair and my face. So, Mr. Gunn, could you tell us, if I can think for a second, can you tell us how many bugs there are out here?
Why are there so many fucking bugs?
Could you tell us what the thoughts were that were going through your mind when you fell? Did you have anything that went through your mind? Did you know you were going to die? Whoa. You hear that?
Yeah. Mr. Gunn, before that event happened, were you happy? I mean, were you proud standing on top of the church that you designed and you built? What?
Ooh. Mr. Gunn, last time we were here, we got a voice that said work. We were assuming that it meant work on the church. Was that you?
The last time we were here, we got a strange series of voices that came over the spirit box, and they all said my father. There were three of them. Are there sisters here or a family that were talking about maybe Mr. Gunn or their father being buried here?
Oh. Now, could that be the power line?
It might be.
Let's try to move it over here real quick then. We'll see if we move it to the other end. Well, where did that go? Oh, it runs all along it. Damn. All right, so we moved down a little bit to the other side. This place isn't very big, but what we did was we came back down because, and you'll see it in one of the recordings, but the REM pod had actually gone off over here. So we thought maybe it was a power line above us. So we moved it down over there where we did the first spirit box, and nothing happened. So who knows what that's about. It's pretty weird though, because it did something it doesn't ever do, or that we've ever heard it do, but it went off over and over. So we figure before we leave, we'll come over to this area, do a quick spirit box, and see what we get. All right, there we go. All right, so was there somebody over here a minute ago that was messing with that REM pod? Was there somebody next to it, maybe standing next to it? I was. Kind of what it sounded like. Can you tell me if you were one of the people that attended this church? Oh, that was weird, man. It was like we had something for a second and it left. All right, so is there anybody that's next to us that was buried here?
No.
No, yeah, that's what I thought. I couldn't tell if that was the radio or not. Try to mess this up a little bit. All right, last time we were here, we got a voice that said work. Was that Mr. Gunn that said that? Can you say here? All right, can you say work? Very much coming through now. All right, we're about to go ahead and cut this off, but before we cut it off, can you say hello? Did you hear that? It said no again. It said no. Construction. Did you say construction? Yeah, I think we're about to wrap this up. All right. Sorry. Bye.
Duncan Memorial United Methodist Church was established in 1785. It is the oldest Methodist congregation in South Carolina, and it was the regional center for Methodism as it moved through South Carolina during the period known as the Great Awakening. During the Civil War, it was occupied by federal troops who allegedly used the church sanctuary as a stable. Several Civil War Confederate soldier graves can be found in the cemetery, as well as one Union soldier grave. Almost 1/3 of the graves are for children under the age of 12. All right, everybody, the tour through Georgetown's oldest churches and cemeteries continues. Right behind me is Duncan United Memorial Church. It was built in the late 1700s, and it's actually got a very little quaint, small cemetery nestled in the annex that's right across the street from it. So that's what we're going to head to next to check out. So let's go.
All right, so we're in the cemetery for Duncan, right across from the church that you saw just a moment ago. We believe this area was probably built in the mid to late 1700s. We actually came here before and got a couple interesting audio. One of a, it's like maybe an infant and then a little girl's voice. And then I think in the courtyard we had a couple of things. There was something near an old building that moved around. So hopefully tonight we can figure out what that was. And obviously we always start off with a spirit box, so we'll go ahead and start with that. All right. So can you hear it pretty well over there? Okay. Hey, look, what was that? We got our first hillbilly, guys. All right, so last time we were here, we got the sound of a girl speaking. Is there a girl that's buried nearby? Did you hear it? Is there a soldier that's buried nearby? Dude, I can hear, man, but I can hear something there, but it's just too muffled. You want to walk up a little bit? Maybe we'll see if it's right over here. Did you hear that? Can you tell us your name?
Your name?
Huh?
Did you hear your name?
Hi. You heard that? Dude, I swear to God, that's the same girl, man. We've heard this at like multiple places. There's just no way this is like every girl's got this voice. There's no way. Is there a reason you're following us? Not the last part. That was the radio, but that was definitely the same voice. Are you following us around because you want to follow us? What was that? So if I'm walking away, are you still following us over here? I just want to know, like, if that was. There's just no way. There's no way that that's that same voice. Last time we were here, we got the sound of a girl speaking. Is there a girl that's buried nearby? Good. Say that again. Was was there a girl that was buried here? All right. How about is it a man that's buried here? Yeah. I feel like we lost what it was. We have. Is there a soldier that's buried nearby? Oh, is it Dave? Uh, I heard that. Dude, I swear to God, that's insane. We've heard this in like multiple places. There's no way it's just like every girl's got this. There's no way.
So we moved over to another portion of the cemetery. It's one that Kenny actually found the last time we were here, kind of hidden back here. Pretty cool little spot, kind of like a prayer garden almost. So we are going to conduct another spirit box session back here and see what we get.
Hell yeah.
So if there's anything out here or anyone that wants to communicate with us, can you go ahead and speak into this box I have in my hand? Kenny and I were just out at old Gunn Church a couple hours ago. Is there anybody here related to anybody that attended old Gunn Church?
You say church?
He did say church.
Yeah. Oh, that's what he said.
Is there anything, any message that you want to pass on to anybody? It can be quick, I know probably talking to this box takes a lot of energy. Is there... What did it say?
I don't know. I thought it said laboratory.
Here. Is there anything else that anybody would like to say or pass on? Any messages? Maybe to us or to family? Go ahead and speak.
Speak?
Did you hear that too?
Yeah, I thought I heard speak. Prince George Winyah Parish Church, founded in 1721 and named after George II of England. The original location was Prince Frederick Parish Church, also known as Old Gunn, until the congregation divided in 1734, with some staying at Prince Frederick and the remainder moving to Prince George Winyah. The church was destroyed during the Revolutionary and Civil Wars. The church and adjoining cemetery are neighbors to the Beth Elohim Jewish Cemetery, where 3 of Georgetown's mayors are buried. Visitors to both Prince George Winyah Cemetery and Beth Elohim Cemetery claim to hear ghostly, girlish laughter. It's believed this laughter is caused by 2 best friends who had planned to get married on the same date and time. Both women contracted yellow fever and died a few days before their weddings, and one is interred at Prince George Winyah Cemetery. All right, so we're down at Prince George Winyah Parish Church, built in 1721. This is actually a little bit closer to where we were just at Duncan. This church was actually the original church that was built here before they had built Old Gunn Church. It was kind of made for, to have to accommodate a larger population. But this area, unfortunately, we cannot actually get into the cemetery, so we have to kind of stay on the outskirts and see what we can pick up out here. But the interesting thing about this is, of course, the age. One of the oldest areas down here in South Carolina. And then right along where I believe it's the Black River, it might be the Black River, but there's the whole, waterway that runs through there. So what we're going to do is just do a spirit box session, see if we can pick up anything on the outside here, and yeah. Alrighty, so we're going to go ahead and do a quick spirit box session over here at Prince George Winyah Church and see what we pick up. Alright, so if there's anybody that's buried over here that's nearby us, we always ask this question. If you could tell us your name.
Did you hear your name again?
I thought I heard something like that. I couldn't tell what that said. I do want to kind of walk down a little bit in a second and see maybe if we can pick up something over there also.
I'll follow you.
All right. We'll try to go up to the front of the church first to see. Can you tell us if you attended this church? If you did attend this church, can you tell us what year it was? That was weird. Something came across and didn't said something like sounds like it. That was weird. Are you standing with us right now? Standing where you are. Did you hear that? Mm-hmm. I'm pretty positive that's what that said. Did you say you're standing with us? Are you in this church right now? Yeah? What it sounded like it said yeah? We'll try to go over here a little bit and see. Are you buried in this area over here? Are you buried somewhere over here in this cemetery? What the hell is that? A little laugh. That was weird.
We go further down that way.
Yeah. Which way, down here? Yeah, we might as well. I've never heard it where just nothing came through like that. So, of course, we don't have a whole lot that we know to really be able to ask you.
Did you leave?
Yeah, that's why I just leave, yeah.
I heard it again.
Did you tell us to leave? I did.
I heard that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure really what. It started off pretty strong, and it seemed like it just kind of faded away. So I'm not sure if maybe whatever it was just wanted to be heard, and then right after that decided that's all I wanted to say. But it's funny because we both clearly heard, the same few phrases, and then right after that it sounded like you need to go now. Of course, as always, we always go back to find out. So if it is what it said, we'll have it on here. We'll be able to tell. Unfortunately, of course, we cannot get inside of there. I would love to be able to go in there and actually be able to get a little more extensive, research on it.
But yeah, they were adamant about no ghost hunting in here. But still a very cool place, man.
That's the thing, and we'll respect it. I mean, it's an older area. I'm sure that they want to protect it. Could be also the same thing with the spirits. Could be that whatever's in there just does not want this area to be, infringed upon. So we'll just leave it alone and call it a night from here.
Sounds good, brother. All right, everybody, we moved to another section of the cemetery over here at Prince George Winyah. Yeah, again, it's difficult to try to describe the scope of this place to you because you can't really see it unless you're driving by it or flying over it. But this is a pretty large, old cemetery as far as they go. I mean, it encompasses a couple city blocks just to walk around the thing. So we're trying closer to like the rear entrance of the cemetery and do another spirit box session just to see what we pick up. Okay, I'm going to start this off like we start off every single one of these. Is there somebody here that would like to speak with us? You can speak into this box I have in my hand. It helps us communicate with you. Another thing I would like to point out, Kenny, if you look across the street right there, it's kind of hard to make out. That's actually an old Jewish cemetery that's here as well. In fact, one of Georgetown's earliest mayors is actually interred in there. So interesting how how close these things are together. But just so you know,
Just so you're aware.
yeah.
Yes.
It's not getting anything else. It's like it was here and then it moved on.
So you want to try to go over that one real quick?
Yeah, we can walk across the street real quick.
We'll do that.
We'll keep this going.
So we're gonna move over to the other cemetery we were just telling you guys about. It's kind of like the we assume is maybe like a Jewish cemetery. It's in a lot of its own, so it's definitely not part of Prince George Winyah. Can you say Kenny? Whoa.
Is there something you'd like to say to Kenny? Or is there something you'd like to say to me? Matt, I'm the one holding the box.
Whoa. What was that?
You can hear him.
Yeah.
What? So yeah, it was interesting because the last time we were here, you and I, we did that kind of like mini spirit box session. We only focused on the chapel area itself. We didn't come down this far. We didn't do anything. And like always in this game, dude, you're fishing. Nothing really there, but it seemed like as soon as we come across the street to where the Jewish cemetery is, some things started to pop off there. Definitely some things I want to go back and check out as far as evidence and see what was really going on there. As always, when we're doing these spirit box sessions, the downside to the spirit box is things are still coming across while we're asking questions. So you never, really capture everything. It's always like we're talking over something.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, this by far isn't all of Georgetown. I mean, there's lots of old unexplored places here. Places you can only get to by boat. There's a lighthouse here that we'd like to check out hopefully one day. But overall, just a really cool town, a lot of rich history, a lot of haunted locations as well. So hopefully we'll be back here soon to check out some of the other places on the list, man.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, everybody. Well, that was our tour of Georgetown.
Yep.
Yeah. A lot of cool places in there. there's a lot more to Georgetown than just where we went. I mean, a lot of some, apparently haunted places. There's a lighthouse there that's haunted. There's a theater called the Strand Theater that's haunted. Cool spot to check out if you guys ever get the time and are down that way. And we'd obviously love to check out all of that stuff, and hopefully still may. But we kind of wanted to give you like a cliff notes of some of these more historical places, significantly historical places. And Old Gunn was the first stop.
Yep.
And Old Gunn, back when we were just a podcast, we were just starting out, with paranormal investigations. Had no idea what we were doing. Kind of still don't, but that's cool. Yeah. But Old Gunn was just really freaking cool from the get-go. Like, it's hard to describe, but it's just out in the middle of nowhere. It's out in the middle of this immense woodland. And unfortunately, as you saw, when we were there on location, it's got a fence around it because people going in there and vandalizing stuff, spray painting shit on tombstones. Yeah. But still, just a really cool, eerie place. And when Kenny and I delved into the history of it, what made it cooler to me is, we always hear about these legends about, oh, this place is supposedly haunted or this place is haunted. You have to keep in mind that once Mr. Gunn fell off that bell tower in the 1700s, not long after, people were staying away from it because they thought it was haunted. Like, that's really cool to me. It had a haunted reputation already, like, in the 1800s. And eventually, the place was burned down. Now, whether that had to be with, to do with vandals, something to do with the Civil War, with after Reconstruction era, or people just thought the place was cursed or something, we'll never know. But it's interesting nonetheless. And I think that's what made it one of the coolest spots on that journey for us. The first time we were out there, we got some really cool spirit box activity. We got like a back and the forth with that. I think we talked about that while we were there. Yeah. We got the first EVP we've ever gotten out there telling us what we believed to say would work. And this second go around, we weren't out there as long as we wanted to because of the damn bugs. But
they're pretty bad.
But still, the thing I still can't piece together is early on I started getting these huge spikes in the EMF meter, and him and I look up and we're like, oh, duh, there's a massive power line above our heads. But later on, the REM pod started going off, as you can see, earlier on in the video. And we thought, okay, power lines again are messing with it. So we moved it to a completely different location along that fence line, still under the power line. Mm-hmm. Never did it again.
The REM pod also. The REM pod was kind of
that's what I'm talking about, yeah. The REM pod, yeah.
I thought you meant like the meter itself.
Oh, yeah, no.
Because I thought they both kind of spiked a little bit.
Well, the meter definitely spiked because of the power lines. But the REM pod was doing something we've never seen it do.
That was definitely unusual.
Yeah, but what was cool was we had it directly in front of the bell tower when that happened.
Yep.
We moved it further down the line, like towards where the cemetery area was. Nothing for the rest of the time.
That's right. There, it did. Yeah, it got real quiet after that. And another thing that was really odd, and I went back and tried to find this in the audio, but towards the end of the time that we were there at Old Gunn, we had or Matt pointed out that he had heard a tree falling. It was really weird because it was, where we were at, there's nobody out there except for the people that live nearby. And of course, they're not out there cutting down trees at like 10 o'clock at night. But this sound, a loud slam, which couldn't have been maybe a quarter mile away from us, happened. And I had, 3 different audio devices recording, and it only picked up on one of them. And it's just really unusual, though, the sound of it, because I just sitting there was nobody around. I don't know, wouldn't really go out and say it's paranormal, but it was a very odd occurrence because I didn't understand how this happened because we were really the only ones out there besides one of the people that lived nearby kind of checking us out to make sure we weren't destroying anything.
Right.
But I found it really unusual that 3 different recorders were going off, recording, and only one of them picked it up. Yeah. It's really odd.
No, it is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. There was another thing with the light too.
The last time we were here, you said something about seeing lights, and that's one of the legends around this Mr. Gunn's ghost is that people see lights coming from around or inside the bell tower, and that's exactly what you thought you saw. Even before knowing that this legend existed, which is what's cooler. So
there's also too, and it kind of goes back a little bit. You guys wouldn't be able to see it. Unfortunately, we weren't doing video at the time. It was just audio, but there's also kind of like an urban legend with it where if you go there, and I don't know if it's that if you're just there, the presence of you being there, people have said that their car won't start whenever they're going to
Oh
leave.
yeah, yeah,
And when
yeah.
we had gone there a little over a year ago, that actually happened.
Mhm.
And it was kind of funny to look back at that because you know, it wouldn't start, and then I went back that night and I was looking it up and found out that it was, you know, kind of like a urban legend where if you go there, I guess just you're technically trespassing there. You know, not beyond the fence, but just even being there, you're on what would be, I guess it'd be the cemetery grounds.
Right.
So they say that Mr. Gunn will make it where your car doesn't start or
Yeah,
something. I
yeah.
mean, it's kind of whatever, but
But it did happen, you know.
yeah, it was
Whether
very
that was
unusual.
coincidence or Mr. Gunn at work, we'll never know. But
Yeah, because it never happened anywhere else with this truck.
no. But again, one of my favorite places that we keep going back to. We'll go there again for sure, probably during the winter.
Yeah, yeah. Once it
Because
starts
of
raining,
all the wildlife and bugs and shit. But again, very cool place. And again, just weird stuff happens when you're out there. And I don't know
Yeah.
if it's just because you're out in the middle of the woods and it's this really eerie building right in front of you. You know, it's the
Yeah.
husk of a burned down church. I mean, how eerie can you get? But
Yeah. Especially seeing it with little light, it's got a very
oh yeah,
you know, creepy. It's almost cliche the way it looks. Yeah.
no, it is. But even some of the stuff that's happened to us aside from that, I mean, just hearing different things. You know, hearing what we thought we heard hooves one night. You
Yep,
know,
yep. I
and
actually
yeah,
had that
some
on a recording.
yeah,
Yeah,
you got a
yeah,
recording of that, and not everybody heard it while we were there.
yeah,
And then the sky seems to brighten up just around where that church is. I know that sounds absolutely silly,
yeah,
but it's happened both times we've been out there. It's been pitch
yeah.
black, and then all of a sudden it gets brighter for some reason. Now, I know what you're thinking. You know, your eyes are just adjusting, but there's a different quality to
Yeah.
it. So
No, it gets very it gets brighter, and then on top of that, it also gets a little colder sometimes. We've noticed. I think even the last time we were there, we noticed that, Matt. I think you pointed that out. That it seemed like the temperature kind of changed in there. And I remember the first time we went there was the same thing. We all kind of stopped for a second and realized that it had gotten a little bit cooler out. I don't know if that's actually something that people experience a lot there,
right,
but both times I'm pretty sure it happened with both times. So who knows? I mean, being that we actually can't get into the place and be able to explore a little bit more because apparently there's another Alice buried there. We don't know if that's Alice Flag,
right,
but that's there's a lot to explore in there, and unfortunately we really can't get in there. So it just is what it is, really.
yeah. But again, it's a great place and a place we'll go back to again for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, so that brings us to the next investigation on our little tour of Georgetown, which was Duncan United Methodist Memorial Church. I probably said that all backwards because that is a mouthful.
Yeah.
But again, very cool church. And what was cool about that one is we've investigated that one a few times now. Didn't know a whole lot about the history the first couple of times we went into it, but now knowing the history behind it, one of the things that we pick up often in that location is little kids.
Yep.
And then, as you do explore the grounds, you find all these graves for these children. It makes the situation a lot more eerie. I mean, and Kenny, you've got some more personal experience, experiencing that there.
Yeah. There was so the first time we had gone there, I had gotten the sound, and it was actually the same. I went back to the exact same spot where I'd heard it before, but it was a sound of a girl in there. But when we first went there, the audio was a little hard to really tell. But we went out this time, and if you've seen any of our previous videos, there's one that we did at a place called Sacristy Methodist Church, and there's the voice of a little girl that comes across that says, "I didn't say anything," and then says what we believe is, "I like you." So this same voice we actually have picked up now at 3 different locations, and it's the exact same voice. I mean, 100% the exact same voice. So I don't really know why, but we went to Duncan that night, and as soon as we started, I went over to that side because that was the area that I had something before. So we went back over there, and lo and behold, there's the girl's voice again coming across, and we actually have an EVP of it. What we think it's saying is, "I was buried here." It's a little hard to tell, but there's a male voice, and then you hear her voice. So I do believe that one, and I don't know. I don't want to say something's following us, but it's a little unusual to have that same voice at 3 different places.
Yeah.
And that could be the case, but God, I was like choking on my own slide there.
Yes.
Edit, cut. Yeah. Anyway, so you'll see me over here dying, but
You'll be dead.
Yeah,
We'll still do the show though. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. If I die, you guys have to, you'd have to come investigate my grave.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely do that. I mean, that's gonna happen.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it's just it's just funny that you found the information on that. Most of that is children, because that seems to be what we've always picked up over there was what seems to be the spirits of kids. I think there's a infant that was buried over there, and then also the soldiers' graves, which I really didn't know anything about that. There was a few different, I think, Confederate soldiers, and then
one Union soldier buried there. Yeah, man.
And that's it's I'd have to go back and check again next time we go to see where exactly they're at. But of course it's dark. We're getting chewed up by insects, so we're not really sitting there being able to explore as much as we wanted to.
It does, yeah. You lose your focus. That's one of the hazards of the job, I guess, is that you got to deal with that kind of distractions. But overall, still, like we say about every single place we go to, every time we go there, we see something different or experience something different. I mean, this one was no different. And what was really cool to me, my personal favorite, going back through and checking out the evidence of what we got, was your thermal camera.
Yeah.
We started using this thermal camera, near the end of the first season, and we get a lot of cool stuff on it for some reason. It's like a bug magnet or bug light for ghosts or weird activity. We'll just leave it at that. And this one was no different. We were at Duncan. He had it on in the background just to see what we could capture, maybe something walking towards us. And it filters out all the static on the spirit box. All we were getting was responses. And to kind of corroborate this whole thing with the children being buried there, I mean, I think there was a time where you asked, pretty directly, hey, is there a child here? And you got a direct answer right back of like, yeah, a child.
Yep.
So, again, may not seem like a big deal in the video, but it is when you're trying to establish communication with something you don't know, and you kind of get those answers back. So,
and I like the fact that when we're sitting there doing the spirit box sessions, even when I go back and I'm trying to check through and comb the audio, it's sometimes so hard to tell because you'll get something where you can't quite tell if it's a radio station or not. It'll just almost answer exactly what you're asking to. But with that, the way that it just kind of separates it, it's a very useful thing to have, because then you're getting exactly what you're asking. It's like we ask about a kid and then it comes across as just a kid. And then you can also tell what is our voice, and then what's not our voice. So that thermal definitely helps out a lot.
Yeah, man. And we've gotten a lot of cool, like I said, all happenstance, all accidental, but we've gotten a lot of cool stuff in the thermal. So, yeah. So that brings us to the last stop on the little tour of Georgetown, which was Prince George Winyah Parish Church. Just a really cool freaking church to just stare at. I mean, it's just massive. It's got this massive old graveyard right next to it. I mean, it is exactly what you think of, and I know we say this often at some other places, but when you think of an old Southern graveyard.
Yeah. It does. To me, it's like the perfect symbol of Georgetown. It's got that look to it. It's a very old church. Just to look at it, I mean, and of course here in the U.S., everything's really not that old, but to live here and to know that it's that 300, close to 300 years old.
Yeah, man.
I mean, it's kind of mind-boggling to look at and see how well maintained it is also, because it's a very old church. And unfortunately, we can't go into the cemetery grounds. We have talked about maybe trying to go down there during the day and do something like that, check it out and just see. But who knows? I don't know how they'll want to handle it.
Yeah, I mean, they yes. But the other problem, you always run into when you do investigations during the day. And I noticed, a lot of paranormal investigators, we do a lot of ghost, hunting at night. And I think that, for your average Joe, people are probably wondering, like, why do you always do it at night? Is it for the creepy factor, or are you trying to sell it? And honestly, it's because of the foot traffic. Places like that, they're in the middle of a city. You've got traffic going by, you've got people walking around, you got people,
It helps a lot.
Yeah, it's just really noisy, and at night it gets quieter. I mean, you still get traffic. I mean, you're in a public place. What are you going to do? But
have the occasional person walk by and think we're nuts, and just kind of look over and like, what are these guys doing?
But being there at night definitely helps, and this place was no different. I think proving that theory. We went there at night, and this time around, I mean, the first time we were there, we did a bare bones little investigation on the outskirts of the cemetery. Got some cool stuff in the spirit box, but this time, again, going back and kind of learning more of the little bit of the legends surrounding the place. I mean, I'd already heard one from the jump about, near dusk you can hear little kids laughing out there. But the stronger one was, hearing those two best friends' laughter, because there's a point you can see in the video where Kenny and I are literally right between Prince George Winyah and Beth Elohim. And there's literally just a road that divides them. That's it. It's this little 2-lane road. And we're kind of in the middle of that walking through. We got the spirit box going. And we did hear some of this laughter come across the spirit box.
Yeah.
Now, again, I'm not saying 100% that's them, that was them. But again, it's eerie how these things lined up. So,
and the way we picked up on it, I remember the way we reacted to it was, it wasn't like we just heard radio or laughter on the radio. It was it had a very eerie level to it, because it did seem like it was something that just came across and not so much a radio station. I think that whole area right there, because I think you had done the spirit box session, and there seemed to be a lot of responses. And just as big as those two cemeteries are, I mean, could only imagine the history inside of it. But I do believe that laughter, it just seemed a little different than I normally wouldn't just say, yeah, it is paranormal, but it seems odd the way it came across, and we pointed that out in the video too.
Yeah, man. It's definitely food for thought, you know what I mean? And we'll always kind of be left wondering, but it was still very cool to see to experience something that matches up with like local legends, because we've done that before where we've gone out and explored a local legend, and obviously nothing happened.
Right.
And I think that's the case for a majority of things. I mean, that's the deal with ghost hunting. You don't always go out and find exactly what you're looking for, and the legends don't always match up, but it's really cool when they do.
It is, especially, having that chance to be able to go back and see if it does it again. Because once you have it happen the first time, you really start to, you have to pace yourself with these kind of things, because we have gone back out and gotten nothing. Which would make sense. You're going back into it's their final resting place. But it would be interesting to go back and see if we get that again,
Absolutely, man. And it's a place we obviously will go back to. It's pretty close to our backyard. So, and again, that's what was really cool about the whole Georgetown tour. And that's why we decided, for the first episode, we wanted to really bring you guys along for it. Is, again, so much history to the place. And that's just, right at the top. I mean, that place is just buried in history. And we'd like to go out and explore more places. And hopefully we will. And we'll bring you all along for the ride. So
that sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah, man. But unless you've got anything else.
I did want to mention, and this is something that we've been trying to branch out more with this new season, is in this area. We try to keep it a little close. We have families, we have jobs, so it's hard to really go far out and do a whole lot. But if you do have a home or business or some place that you feel might be haunted and you want us to check it out, you can get in contact with us. I think you provided, even with the website, you can go right on there and find our email. But anything that would help like that, we do want to be able to check out different things and kind of branch out, make different content. We appreciate anybody that watches and like and subscribe. We appreciate every bit of that. And we're planning also too here in the future to have kind of like a sub channel where it will be a lot of our best evidence, because we do have tons and tons of evidence that we have not shared with anybody.
A lot of it's EVP. That's really kind of hard to show on a video. Yeah,
that's the thing. We kind of want to just do that as more of a separate thing, because we have so much of this. We don't want it to just go to waste and not have anybody else be able to give their opinion on it. So we will be doing that in the future. And
yeah, man. That was a great Ghostbusters pitch. I loved it. I
loved
it.
Perfect. Because I felt like I was over here like, please give us a place.
We want to exercise your demons. So
we just want to check
give us a call. We'll come right down. We'll get them out. We'll chase them off.
It's like, please let us investigate.
Oh my! Please God. But yeah, so without anything else off the cuff, as always, we thank you guys for your support. For those of you who are subscribers, and as always, if you're new to the channel, like and subscribe, and we will see everybody on the next episode.
See y'all later. Go.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of the second season of Para or Normal. We wanted to kind of change it up for you guys and do something different. So tonight we're going to be taking you on a little tour of some of the oldest, more ancient places. No, fuck, start that over again. That was.
Go.
What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the official first. Shit, stop it.
Go.
What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the official first season. Fuck.
Go.
What's up, everybody? So the tour through Georgetown's oldest cemeteries and churches continues. Right behind me is Duncan United Memorial. Fucking stop that dude through.
Go.
All right, everybody. The tour through Georgetown's oldest churches and cemeteries continue. Stop it.
1. Go.
All right, everybody. The tour through Georgetown's oldest churches and cemeteries continues. Next on the stop, we have Duncan United Methodist Church. It was formed, and I forgot the fucking year. Hold on, stop it.
All right, so we're in the graveyard for Duncan, which is right across from the church that you saw just a moment ago. We can only assume that this area was built in the 1700s also. It looks like it's probably around that time frame. Time period. Let me restart this. Hey.
All right, so we moved over to...
Dude, right in the beginning of it, these fucking bastards.
So that massive fucking
Dude,
moth.
like fucking dive bombing on me and shit.